Hi, I'm indie fantasy author Melinda Kucsera, and I'm back with another episode of Fantasy Lore and More. And today we've got a special guest. We have somebody who was a ray of sunshine when I was in a dark period. I get sad around between September and February. The end of September was my sister's birthday. The end of February is when she passed away. And Alex, who's coming on in just a minute, did a wonderful tarot card reading for me. It really lifted my spirits on that dark side. I just really wanted to point that out. So this is a real pleasure for me, and I hope that you enjoy this podcast as much as I'm going to enjoy it. So come on in here. We've got Alex H Singh, and we're going to talk about his book, Lamp of Light, which has a really cool cover. So I think you're in for a treat today. So come on in, Alex, and tell us about yourself. Tell us about the book.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alex H Singh. I mainly write fantasy, but I write horror, and actually been exploring a lot of different genres this year. Lamp of Light is part of a series. It's called Fallen Kingdoms. I have finished the trilogy. However, there's way more than that. But I'm going to read you guys a blurb of book one, which is Lamp of Light, and then I'm going to go into more who the characters are, what my thought process was when I started writing it. So, hope you're ready for a great time. So, Lamp of Light, book one. Here's the back of the book. So, only the light will prove her innocence. Pierre Lachance, king of Tebethia, has been murdered, and all eyes are on his wife, Esther Anna, who knows who the real culprit is. Before she can speak the truth, she is ordered to be executed by the king's daughter, Noelle, the fairest woman in all the kingdoms. Now Esther Anna is on the run, and on her trail is a wendigo named Damian, who has been resurrected from the depths of the black abyss by Noelle to stop Esther at any cost. Esther Anna finds help along the way in form of a fairy prince named Prince Philip, who tells her of an artifact that can prove her innocent called the Lamp of Light. But it is rumored to be in an island protected by a horrifying sea creature. With time running out and Damian on her trail, will she be able to get the Lamp of Light to prove who the real murderer is? So, Lamp of Light is basically my fairy tale retelling series. So, Noelle, who is one of my most hated characters, but I love her because she's so hateful. She's my version of Snow White. So I'm like, why don't I do the flip? I go, why don't we make Snow White not so innocent and make the stepmother innocent? So Esther Anna is my version of the stepmother, except she's almost the same age as Noelle, just maybe a few years older. So I wanted to do the twist. Prince Philip, which is the fairy prince, is my version of Tinkerbell, because he can get very small if he needs to when he's in fairy form. Otherwise, he can be a man size. And the Wendigo is my version of the huntsman. He does not quite listen to Noelle all the time. He's got his own agenda going on. So yeah, it's actually one of my favorite things I've written. The first three books are amazing. I've introduced so many different fairy tale characters in this world, and I'm just so excited. Every time I read it, I'm like, did I write that? Oh my God. So
I love when that happens.
yeah. And so the first three books obviously take place in the world of Fallen Kingdoms. There's a lot going on. The first book deals with trying to clear Esther's name so people know who the real culprit is. And the second book deals with another artifact, which is really exciting. And then the third book deals with another artifact, but more. It talks about the future of the series. So I basically go far into the future, into the modern world for three books.
Oh.
And then I go back into the past. In order to understand what's happening in the future, we must go to where the kingdoms were not fallen. We talk about the gods. We talk about their turmoil, their issues, what happened, and how these kingdoms were fallen. Because they weren't always fallen. There were one big kingdom, actually, before they were divided. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm super excited for the series. I'm getting a new cover done for the first book. It won't be released until probably next year, but it's going to have like a nice character insert in there with all my favorite characters in it. It's going to be so much fun. You guys are going to love it.
So wait. So you're gonna recover Lamp of Light.
I am. I'm going to
Oh,
recover a lamp of light. I'm going to have
but it's
like
so
a
pretty,
nice.
the cover.
It is. It is pretty, but sometimes you just have to go with and do a little refresh, a little zhuzh,
Yeah.
So a little zhuzh. But I'm gonna have a nice insert with my favorite main characters in there for the book, just so it's kind of like a little token for people to keep, like a nice picture insert. I do want to get some bookmarks made that I think people would really like. And honestly, Lamp of Light is just one of my favorite books. Like I could read it over and over again, and I'm still in awe. And I'm like, I can't believe I wrote
That's
that.
the best. That is
I
like the
know
best feeling for an
it
author.
is.
Like, yeah, and it's so cool. I'm glad that's so awesome. So you mentioned it's a trilogy. So are the other books completed? They're out?
They're completed. I just don't have them out yet. I do have the second book out, but I want to add more to it, kind of zhuzh it up as well, change it up, change the cover as well. Because I want to find one consistent cover artist who can do them all. Because the original cover artist was not
Oh.
available. As beautiful as the cover is, and it is, um,
Oh,
I
okay.
just want to get a consistent cover artist, so that way
Yeah.
this is part of that trilogy. But to make it more interesting, I'm going to have a different cover artist per trilogy, just to change it up. So the first three will be done by one cover artist.
Hmm.
The next three, which talk about the past, will be a different cover artist. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're all in the same world.
Yes, they are. They're all in the same world. They're all fairy tale retelling characters. Like, the enemies are so cool. Like, I'm obsessed with like, Noelle is the most hated person I could have ever invented. She frustrates me. I get mad when I read the character. I'm like, I hate her. She's a horrible person. But yet, she's so good at being horrible, which is
Oh,
what makes her
wow.
such a good enemy. People are going to be very angry when they read it. I've had people read this book and say, "Oh my god, that girl is horrible. I just want to punch her in the face." I'm like, she's an actual character. You can't really punch her. But I know what you're talking about. So, I think you guys will really like it. Like I love my characters so much. I don't know where this came from. It just came to me one day when I started working on it. I think it's during the time when a lot of authors were doing fairy tale retellings. So I'm just like, I'm gonna do one too, but I want to make sure I do it properly. Like I want to warp it up and change it up, but kind of keep to the original story in a way.
Right.
So there is dwarves. There are dwarves in it, but they're not what you think. They're based off the seven evil, it's like of sins, basically. They're like
So there are the seven dwarves because that's kind of the
yes,
Snow White thing.
yeah, but they're like they're different type of sins. So they're like goblins that have different abilities based on the
Okay.
sins. Yeah,
That's wild.
I just
So
decided to change it up. I'm like,
so
this
they're
looks
so
kind of
they're
cool.
so they're not really allies. I mean, they're
They're not
Snow White's
allies.
allies. Are they Snow
Yeah,
White's allies or they're?
yeah, they're always been with Snow White, so I kept them with Snow White.
But
So
she's the bad girl.
she's
So
the bad girl. Noelle is the honestly, when you read this book, you're gonna hate her so much. But you're also gonna love her because I wrote her in such a way that she frustrates you and you hate her, but yet you're like shocked of how good she is at being so bad. Like, And I love
she's
Esther
good at her
Anna's
job.
as for Esther Anna, she grows on you. Like
Hmm.
a lot of people said that they like her, but they don't love her. They love the other characters. They love the gray characters. They love Damian, especially, who is the Wendigo. They like
So let's
Prince
talk a
Philip.
little more about
Yes.
what is so like. I know what a Wendigo is in like Native American myths.
Yeah, yeah.
What is your version of a Wendigo?
It's the same. It's a creature that's werewolf like creature, but slightly different.
Okay, what's the slight difference? Or is that a spoiler?
He's not like a woodland creature. He's kind of still like a werewolf, but slightly different. He has his own agenda.
Mm.
You never know what he's up to. He has his own free will in a way. Like he doesn't always listen to Noelle, which I love. Because sometimes she needs a dose of her own medicine, Can't always get what she wants. Um,
Yeah.
And Damian story's unfinished. Like everyone wants to know more about him, and I will. I'll write him in the prequel and mention him and who he is and how he became who he became. So I will get there eventually.
Yeah, he probably sounds like he made some bad life choices.
I know he did. And I also have my version of Hook in the book, but she's good. And it's a she.
Oh, so does that mean that Peter Pan's going to be a villain in your fairy tale retellings?
There's no Peter Pan, at least not that I know of. I do have Tinkerbell, which is my version of Prince Philip. And
Yeah.
I have Captain Michelle, Pirate of Vanderbreck, another kingdom. And she is a pirate, kind of like Hook in a way, but she's good. She's also a great character, but she's mainly good. And
That's
she has an owl that thinks it's a parrot,
hmm
her companion.
That's
So it's
funny.
interesting. I like twisting stuff. I also have Sleeping Beauty, which is my version, and it would be Anna Carly. That's her name.
Is she a villain
Eh,
too?
no,
Are we
she's
going?
not.
That would be kind of fun if someone wrote that, like, we're all, instead of all the princesses were evil,
Yeah,
flip the Disney.
yeah, I know. No, she's not evil. Unfortunately, she's the victim of Noel. We also have Red Riding Hood, known as Natalie, and she is related to one of our characters, and she's the Red Wolf of Elgrove Forest, which is located in Vanderbeck. So a lot of interesting twists and turns of characters. You never know which fairy tale character I'm going to find and put in the book. So I'm
Yeah, it
really
sounds
excited.
it. Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. That's
yeah,
very cool.
I'm
So, all
really
right.
enjoying it.
So we've got Banderbuck. So
Yeah.
what is the place where Esther Ann lives? I love her name, Esther Ann. That's really
Esther
pretty.
Anna is from Tibathia.
Tabathia. Okay.
Yeah.
And are they like neighboring countries? Is there like an
They're
ocean
all
between?
separate kingdom. There is a forest and an ocean between them. Um, so, like I said, they all used to be one kingdom. We will learn more about that. I kind of give tidbits in the three books, so make sure hopefully people catch on to it.
Hmm.
But it's quite interesting what I'm planning to do. I also have other amazing characters that are going to show up in the future books, like Pandora,
Oh,
Pandora's granddaughter to be exact. But Pandora will be in there too. I will
so
also
you're
be
gonna
talking.
close the box in time to keep in hope, or?
Yeah, like we have Pandora. We're gonna talk about her granddaughter. We're gonna have an original fairy tale character that I have created. We also have the Princess and the Pea, but the Princess and the Pea, she's not a good person. She's a bad person. We have a lot of cool characters that people are like, wow, I want to see who can get the references of who's who. They kind of get it when they read the
Hmm.
book. But yeah, we also have Beauty and the Beast. That's right, my own versions.
Oh, and what's your
Well,
twist on that?
you'll have to wait and see.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So you said that, like, so this takes place in a fantasy world, and you said you're
Yeah.
also going to have trilogy that jumps into the
Into the
future
future,
in
yeah,
in in of their world or our world.
of our world.
So they're connected somehow.
They're connected somehow. At the end of book three, you guys will find out more about the future and what it holds, and greedy corporations, and who's running what, and you'll see. It's
So
going to be
is
pretty
wait,
exciting.
is one of the greedy corporations a version of Disney?
I don't think it's that, but you'll see.
I had to ask
You
since
have to ask.
you had like the
No,
princesses and the
no. I
this.
love Disney movies, and I love fair Disney movies and fairy tales. I've been watching them all my life, but I just thought this would be a really cool way of retelling stuff. You know, kind
No, that
of
is cool. Now I've got
create.
like
Yeah,
now I'm thinking about like the doing all the princesses is like evil.
you should. I
Oh
want you
god, I've got
to.
so many books ahead of that to write, but
Oh
like
God.
the idea is there now. Like, could you do it? How would that work?
Trust me, I know what you mean. I have every time I think I'm working on a series or a book, I'm like, more ideas for more books show up. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, I can't.
Yes.
I have so many other things I'm
Yes.
working on. It's crazy. I have a lot of fantasy books I'm doing, horror books I'm doing,
Are they all in the same
thrillers.
world? Are you doing the Stephen King
No,
thing where like everything is related, even if they're all in different places?
no,
Um,
no, no, no. This series is more. tame. Like, yeah, there's some exciting thrillery moments and stuff, but it's more for kids or adults to enjoy, and they love it. It's one of my
So it's
favorite
more
things
like
I've written.
adventure. Like
Yeah, it's
she's
more adventure
yeah.
and fantasy. Where I have another series that I worked on. It's the one that gave me my status of USA Today bestselling author, which is the uh, Tapestry series.
Mm.
That's more for adults. Like there is adult violence in there and other sort of stuff, but it is dark fantasy. It's more adult fantasy.
Right, right.
That's totally different vibe from this. Like this, I can read over and over again and say, I cannot believe I wrote that.
This
It's
just
so
sounds
good.
fun.
It is. It really is. And honestly, I think by book 2 or 3, Esther Anna grows on you as a character. A lot of people
Mhm.
didn't like her. They're like, she's okay, but I really like Damian. I love the gray characters. But I had a mixed result. A lot of people liked Esther as well, but people love Prince Philip. They think he's so sweet and so kind.
So
People, you know.
So how does magic work in your world? So Prince Philip can make himself small, make himself large. Is it like
Yeah.
certain people have magic, or just only the fairies have magic?
Certain
How are
people have
you
magic.
doing that?
Not everyone has magic. So, like, Esther Anna's just normal. She doesn't have any powers. Or does she? We don't really know yet
I
about
like
her.
that though. I like stories where like the person doesn't have it. They can get it later, but where
Yeah,
because we don't get to see too often like a normal person like you or I who doesn't have magic trying to survive in these magical worlds.
I think, if anything, Esther Anna's biggest power is just her humanity, her belief in hope, her truth, her kindness. I think that is her best magic, to be honest. She doesn't really have power. Her power is just being kind and the truth and trying to live an honest life. That's her power, if anything.
And she probably needs to find people who have power to help her, which is I would assume. Or is
Well,
she
I
able to
mean,
do all this on her own?
she gets allies on the way. Like she meets Prince Philip, and then they meet.
So that's her power.
Yeah,
Because if you
yeah,
already have power, you don't need allies sometimes.
exactly. And then she meets, she meets Captain Michelle because they need a boat. And
Yeah.
then, from there they meet other people and they, get into all these issues and problems and encountering stuff. It's really interesting, the circle of how everyone's connected eventually. So that's what I did. Like I
Is that
created
in the
this world
trilogy? Do you
that's
find
in
out
the
how they're all
trilogy.
connected in this trilogy?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
Or
and
do
in
you
a
have to
way,
wait for the next trilogy?
this trilogy will tell you how everyone's connected. Don't worry, I don't like
Gotcha.
to keep people in suspense.
No, hey, that's what I'm asking. So these three are all written. You're working on new covers. What are you
Yes.
writing now? Are you writing the next
Right
trilogy in
now,
this world?
I am
Or are
not
you cheating
working
on
on
it?
the. I I will start working them next year. I
Okay. So you're cheating on them with another book. So what's this other book you're working on?
I'm working on my first killer thriller, a standalone book. I've never done like a crime thrillery book. It's not something I've done. So I'm like, I'm trying to challenge myself this year to do things that I'm not comfortable with or I haven't done. So like I did a kids book last year, like within the earlier part of the year. That was so difficult to do
I
because
can't even
my
imagine because you have to have like pictures and like unless you did a chapter book.
I did, but I mean to write a simple book compared to a 100,000 page word book, it's so difficult, you know. So
Yeah, can't have as many twists.
yeah, I know you can. You have to keep it simple for kids, especially. So that was a challenge. Um, but this one, like Fallen Kingdoms, it just comes easy to me. I don't know. Um, Other books like the killer thriller that I'm working on, you guys are gonna love it. The twist in it, it's ingenious. Even I was like, wow, good me. But then it's obviously once I started, I even bought a cover on whim because I'm like the cover's perfect for it. And then I haven't even started yet. On top of that, I
Oh,
thought of five other books to do. I'm like, my mind needs to take a break. I need to work on what I haven't done. And yes,
yeah.
I get pestered about Fallen Kingdoms quite often. They're like, hurry up, write the others. And I'm like, I will eventually.
But they're not a challenge, so they're not calling to you
No,
right now.
no, I go with my calling. I will go back to Fallen Kingdoms. It's one of my favorite series. It honestly, every time I read it, I just I'm in awe of myself, and I'm like, I can't believe I wrote that. It's so good. I want to be in this world. Like,
So in the first book of the next trilogy in it, is it going to be Esther Ann again, or is it all new characters?
it's going to be. It's going to mention Esther Anna and Prince Philip and the other characters, but it's going to be focused more on the past, like before the kingdoms were fallen. So to understand the predicament of the new character at the end of book 3, which you when you read it, in order to understand what to do and how to fix things, they need to understand the past.
Mm.
So we will find out more about the past, about the characters and who these people are. And then once that's done, which shouldn't be a trilogy, it might be 1 or 2 books, it depends on how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can focus on the future books and fix the issue at hand. Even that character that I introduced is going to find allies of their own. But so everyone knows, the final book in this trilogy, this main series, will be in the right fantasy world, in the kingdom where Esther Anna is.
How many books are you planning?
I have a feeling this is going to be an 8 series book. I've done 3.
Okay.
I need 2 books to explain the past. I need 1 book for Beauty and the Beast. And then I have 3 books, other 3 books to get the other 2 characters, and then the final battle, you could say.
Okay, so 8 books. That's cool.
Yeah.
So maybe 2025 we'll get all that?
You know what? You know how an author is. You can't just focus on one thing. Your mind keeps switching. I will start working on them.
Yeah. I know how that goes. I know how that goes.
Yeah, writing is fun, but writing is difficult because I can't just stay on one path. There's so many books that I have to work on. Generally, when I write, I work on 2 books at the same time. So I'll work on a fantasy book, and I'll work on a horror book or a different book. This way, I don't get writer's block, because if I'm working on one genre, I get stuck. If I have 2 different genres I have to work on, I never get stuck.
I never done that.
No,
because I only write fantasy.
Exactly. But if you try working on something totally out of your headspace, like maybe a thriller or a horror book in conjunction with the other one, you'll never get writer's block. I've been doing it for years. It's great.
I don't think I could write horror.
Well, you could do a horror thriller maybe, or a horror fantasy book.
I don't know. I don't think I could do horror in anything. I think I could do dark fantasy, but I don't know that I could go further than that.
Well, then you could do a dark fantasy, because it's slightly different than a regular.
Yeah, because I'd have to undercut it if it got too dark or too violent or too gritty or too hopeless. I'd have to undercut it and have something like not frivolous, but something like lighthearted, something good. So I have something that was trending kind of dark that I just undercut it at the end because I was like, I don't write dark fantasy. I can't do this. This is getting too dark. We just got to throw in like something lighter and more fun.
I know what you mean. Trust me. I don't really like to write too dark. Like even my Tapestry series, it's fantasy, it's adult fantasy, but I have to judge how adult the fantasy goes. So sometimes it gets too adult, and even I'm like, ooh, I don't like it.
Yeah, that's when I hit the delete button. I'm like, no.
I don't delete it. I tweak it in a way where I can keep what I'm trying to say without being so adult. You know? Because kids like my book. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes what I do is I'll finish writing it regardless, and then I'll put it aside for about a month, 2 months, reread it, and say, do I like it? Do I respond to it? Because I read horror books, but they have to be done in a certain way where I'm like, okay, I like them or I don't. So same thing with the books, you know?
Yeah. But I think because like all my books are in the same world, so I try to keep the tone, the tone sort of varies, but I try not to let it stray too far. And there's like, you know, like there's a narrow band of what's okay, and like I try not to cross that line because they're all in the same world, and I want people to be able to, you know, if you're like, I want, like, if you're a teenager, like upper teens, and you read one
Yeah,
of them, I want you to be able to read all of them without there being something that like is too much for you. Or if you're an adult and you like my stuff because it's not super violent, it's not super dark, it's not super, there's no spice, there's, you know, there's baby dragons and, you know, other fun things, you know,
aw,
that it, you know, that it's all, you know, that you know what you're going into, that like I don't, all the things that I don't normally do in one book that you've read, you know, that all of them are gonna be like that. That's,
exactly.
you know what I mean? You're not gonna unexpectedly stumble across like spice or something that you wouldn't expect in one of my books. So I think that's the difference, because you're writing all different genres and all different series that target different readers. You can tailor it to fit who your market is, and I'm just writing for the same people over and over again whom I
Exactly.
love.
Well, for Tapestry, yes, it is adult fantasy. However, only certain parts of it are adulty.
Mm,
Everything is, when I mean adult, is way more violence than Fallen Kingdoms. Fallen Kingdoms has violence, yes, but not like, oh my god. It's still
yeah.
fantasy, right? But the other one's different. And the tone, I mean, I like it and I don't like it. So it's like when I watch fantasy TV shows or
Hmm.
movies, I'm like, okay, which one works? Which one doesn't? So like
Hmm.
certain of them have way too much violence. I'm like,
Mm.
But the ones that are
Game
okay,
of
I'm like,
Thrones.
that series is interesting. To each their own.
The
Um,
plotting is interesting, but the violence, the
exactly. I found it
sex,
too excessive. Too excessive.
yeah. It was,
And
I didn't watch more than that. I watched like an episode and I was like, not for me.
I
So
mean, everyone liked it. I kind of found it boring, to be honest. I'm sorry, community, but I'm just letting you know. Like, same thing with Wheel of Time. Book's great. The show is so boring.
I didn't watch the show. I mean, I liked, I have a love-hate relationship with the Wheel of Time. I read up to book 8, then I threw it against a wall because like nothing had happened for 3
Mhm.
books. I liked books 1 through 4. I found book 1 to be kind of boring.
Yeah, like the
um
only series that I like on TV that I quite enjoyed, which I thought was great, was Shadow and Bone. Like the series was amazing.
I haven't watched that.
Oh my god,
I don't,
it's so
I
good.
have to figure out what, I don't have any of the streaming platforms. So
Oh,
I think
it's
that's why
so
I haven't
good.
seen it. If it's not on
Yeah,
Amazon or YouTube, I'm like kind of constrained.
it's really
um,
good. It's a slightly better adjustment compared to the books. The books are excellent,
I
but
haven't
the
read those either.
adaptation, OMG,
Don't
get
come
on
after me.
that.
Don't come
It's
after me.
real,
I haven't read
but
those.
the tone of Shadow and Bone is very good. It's like it kind of reminds me of Fallen Kingdoms. Like it's got that
I didn't
tone.
read that either.
That's my series.
No,
You
I know.
will.
I haven't read it yet. I thought I did,
You
and
will.
then I was like looking at the cover and I was like, I don't, unless the cover has changed, I don't think I read this one.
You will read it though. I
Of
promise you
course.
will. Yeah.
Yes.
It's really good. I think when it does get released next year, because I'm gonna read it. I think I'm gonna release it with a new cover, have a hardcover, and make it all pretty. I'm
Yeah, I'm
gonna
gonna wait for
actually
the
have
pretty
it on.
cover because I can't
Yeah,
imagine this one is really pretty. So I can't imagine what the cover you think is pretty is, because I think this is pretty and that's not pretty enough for you.
it's gonna be prettier than that. I can guarantee. And it's gonna have like I think I'm gonna do audiobook for it.
Cool.
Yeah, because that's
I
how
love
good it is.
them.
I'm like I love it. I want audiobook for it.
I love
It's
audiobooks.
Yeah, me too. I've only done one, and that was for my first romance dramedy comedy. Um, but I think for this, Fallen Kingdoms would be a big hit. Like I know so many people will love it. When it first came out, so many people bought it, the first book, and they're like, "Wow, this is so good." But I didn't highly advertise I released the second one. It is out there, but I felt like I rushed it in a way. The editor I had at that time wasn't very good, so
Oh.
I want to get it re-edited properly. Maybe add a few things to it. I definitely want to get a consistent cover artist.
Mm.
I don't want somebody different. And then I will re-release it. And the third book is done. It's just sitting in my computer. I'm like, I guess I should work on you a little bit more, and then
Yeah.
have you edit it, and then release it
Yeah.
too. Because
I
people
mean,
are like,
yeah, get
"Where
that
is
out
it?"
there. If it's
They're like,
done, yeah.
"Yeah." They're like, "Where is it? We want to read it." I'm like, "It is really good. I read it." I read it so many times. I'm like, I love it. But
You
I
gotta
want them in. Yeah,
get the good editor, get the editor that clicks with you and your
yeah,
book, and get that
yeah.
moving.
I will. I will. And then I will start working on. I think I'll work on the first of the new trilogy
Mm.
next year. I will work on it.
And would that also be coming out next year, or
Oh, it will
um
be. I'm fast when it
okay.
comes to writing. Yeah, I write fast, but then editing it takes time, right?
Oh
Editing,
yeah.
cover design, and all that stuff. Oh,
Although like I tend to like I tend to like n- I tend to do all of the like cover and like stuff before the book is done. It's like I need
yeah.
like the visual aid of the cover to be like,
Me
okay,
too.
it doesn't feel like the book is real unless it like it's on my phone screen staring at me every time I unlock my phone.
You're just
um
like me. I tend to
yeah.
get the
So I
covers
need
created.
I need the cover
Yeah,
like while I'm writing the book to feel like
yeah.
it's real and that I'm actually writing this thing, that it's going to become a book. And then like once it's done, like I kind of lose interest in it. So that's it goes into editing, and get eventually I get that I try to get that done pretty quickly, because like once it's finished, like I just don't want to deal with the book anymore.
No,
I am
exactly. So
done with it.
what I do is I get the cover done, and I get character cards made. Why? Because they stare at me, and I feel like they're telling me, "What the hell are you doing? Get the
Mm.
book done." And I'm like, I owe it to my characters to finish the book. So that's why I get the characters and character cards done. So this way it forces me to get it done. Like if I don't have character cards done or I don't have a cover for it, I'm like, oh, I can always do it another time.
Mm.
But once I have a cover, I'm like, okay,
No, and then
I
it's
need to do
real.
it. Yeah, that's real. I'm like, I have to work on
Yeah, it feels like the book already exists, and like you
it.
not writing it, like it's just stalking you. Like it's like,
Honestly, Fallen Kingdoms is such a good series. When I was writing it, I had dreams I was in the world and the characters were
oh
talking to
wow.
me because I was working on it day and night and I was like so invested in my characters.
Mm.
So I'm just like, oh,
Did the characters cooperate with your outlines? Are you an outliner, or did the characters are they rebellious and they were like, no, that maybe you want me to do this, but I'm doing something else.
I actually had a dream that Noelle was in our world trying to wreak havoc. And I'm like, how do I get you back in the book? Like, you need to go back in my book. You need to wreak havoc in there, not in my world. It was such an awkward dream. I'm like, oh my god,
Wow.
she's as bad as she is in our world that she is in my book world. What the hell?
How did you get her back in the book and out of the dream?
I basically said, I created you, I can end you. So if you want me to end you
Oh,
in the series, I can do that. I can replace you with somebody better. And then she went back, and that was the end of that. But it
that's
was
so
so
cool.
interesting that like I'm like that's how powerful my connection was to my character, that she was out of the book wreaking havoc in our world. I'm like, oh my god, what
You
have I
have to
done?
you have to tell us if Noelle visits you in dreams again.
Honestly, it was honestly, yeah, she, when you read it, I can guarantee you're gonna be like, I hate her, I don't like her.
No, and
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
cool, like, to be able to write a character that people have such an emotional reaction to, such as hate. I'm not sure I've written a character like that yet.
The thing is, she's very despicable, but there's no redeem. So how I wrote her was for you to think, yeah, she is despicable, she has no redeeming quality about her, none.
Mm.
You do not feel bad for her whatsoever. She's always been a hateful person. Because I'm like, you know what, I'm tired of reading about villains that are so bad but then they have this pitiful backstory and then you feel bad for them. Not for Noelle, I want you to hate her.
So no pitiful backstory for her.
No, no pitiful backstory for her. Damian, he's more of a gray character. Like, I wrote him in a way that he's, because he doesn't listen to her, he does his
Mm.
own thing, and he does kind of redeem himself, I guess. He's still very scary. Like, I was kind of scared of him writing about him. So, and he's a great
So
character.
no Wendigos show up in your dreams?
No, no Damian, just Noel, just Noel.
Too bad it
No,
wasn't Philip,
oh
the
yeah.
fairy. That might have been a fun dream.
It's funny, when I started writing the series, I took some of the characters' muses from people I know. Just
Oh.
maybe the way they look or the way they act or their personality or their, the people itself, like who they are as people, and I
Do any
use
of them
them.
know? Did they read the book and see reflections?
Yeah, they
Did you
did. They're
have to
like,
have
is
that
that
awkward conversation? They come back to you, go, can we talk? I read The
no?
Lamp of
Uh,
Light, and I was seeing some similarities between myself and some characters.
I did. I have a friend named Philip, and he's like, "Is that supposed to be me? The way you described him with his hair being all wispy and long, it reminded me of me." I'm like, "It is you. Good, good." And he's like, "Cool." And then my Esther Anna is based off a friend I know who is Esther Anna, and
Oh,
just her personality is very kind and caring and always giving. So I'm like, I'm going to use that, but with a twist. So that's what I
and
did.
does she know?
Oh yeah, she loves her. She loves her character so much. She goes, that is so me. Like I'm always
So,
willing to go above and beyond for people. She goes, you did me justice.
was Nicole? Does Noelle based on someone you know, and does that person know? And what was their
Yes,
reaction?
Noelle is based off of me.
Oh, that's fun. That's so cool.
I'm
That's
like,
so fun.
sometimes I go, sometimes you can't always be nice, and sometimes you
Mm.
want to be mean. So Noelle is a reflection of what I would love to be and how I would like to be sometimes, but I don't, basically. You know? We all
Yeah.
have our dark sides. I'm like, Noelle would be a dark version of me. She sounds like me, she acts like me in a way. So I'm like, let's go another step. What would I do if I could do this and do that? So I made myself in Noelle.
That that must have been so like liberating to be able to
It
like create a character you can do all the things that you can't do because of
and won't
society
do.
and
I would never do it, but just like it's fun to express yourself through a character
yeah, to
sometimes.
imagine that.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. People are like, is Noelle based off of you? And I'm like, shh, yes, she is.
Did they back away slowly?
No, they're like, I can see a lot of the way she speaks and acts like you. I'm like, that's good. She is supposed to be a version of me, but I obviously wouldn't do the mean things that she's done, or would I? And they're like, oh my God.
Did they believe it when you say you would not do those things?
Yeah, they know I wouldn't do those things. But honestly, writing her has been so much fun. And trust me, there's so many things I want to do with her character. And then I have to figure out how do I end her? I haven't thought that far.
Do
I
you
don't
have
want.
to end her? This could be one of the villains who
Uh,
survives to
she
cause
survived
trouble another
plenty.
day.
She will have to be dealt with in the end of the trilogy, like the end of the series, and she will. She'll be dealt with properly, but how is the question? We'll figure it out when we get there. I might throw in another artifact. It's interesting getting these artifacts, and the funny part is these artifacts all belong to the gods and goddesses of
Oh,
the past kingdom before it fell.
so only some of them survive. So I'm guessing it fell a long, long, long time ago. If only some
Exactly.
artifacts show up.
Exactly. Not all of the artifacts are still around, but some of them are.
That's so
So,
fun. Is Esther Ann going to find all of them, or is somebody else going to get a crack
uh,
at that? Or is she a
eventually,
girl? She's our relic hunter.
eventually, all of these artifacts will be within her reach.
Oh,
But a lot of them are found by other people. She's found 3. So eventually, it will be used
in the final
to
battle.
in the final battle.
Who are we fighting in the final battle?
A very big ancient enemy, the same enemy that caused the kingdoms to fall.
Do we have? I guess we have to wait until the later books to find out who that is, or is it? Is there like? Is it
You'll have to.
revealed in the first 3?
It's hinted in the second book actually. It's hinted in the second book and talked about in the third book, but
I see.
we don't really know the extent of it yet.
And do they know that that entity is still around?
Yeah, they do. Esther stumbles upon him in the second book.
Oh, and she lives to
Yeah,
tell about it.
yeah.
I guess that
It's
entity is going to regret that.
in a way because she to him she's just a powerless person. She's just a human.
I see.
right? Can never doubt. That's the one thing I love about characters with powers. They always think they're above and better than people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for what's to come. I can't wait till people read about um, the other characters in the book. I love Natalie's character, Natalie, which is my version of Red Riding Hood. Her middle name is Redina, which is what they call her, Redina for Red Riding Hood.
That's such a
Re-
cool nickname.
yeah. And I can't wait till people meet Anna, which is Anna Carly, which is my Sleeping Beauty. And you get to meet the other characters. I'm excited. And another thing about the series that I noticed, I didn't really notice in first. I'm like, there's a lot of women characters in here, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to always be a man's world. There are men in the book series. Don't get me wrong. The main character of the next three trilogy is a man, but like for the most part, it's women. And I want more women empowerment. And I do have people of color, different races. I think it's important to have, like, the men in my book are more like the side characters,
Yeah,
which
I
is,
was noticing that when you were talking about it, because the
yeah,
Wendigo and the fairy were the only men, and they didn't sound like they sounded more like they were not the main, not the
no,
main attraction.
exactly. Because it's not really about them. It's not their story. It's Esther Anna's story. It's Noelle's story. So
That's
I'm
so
excited.
cool.
Yeah.
All right,
So I'm
so
excited. Yeah.
you're saying so the new cover and the rest of the the recovering the first book and the rest of the trilogy will be out sometime between now and next year. I just want to give listeners some
I
idea
think
of
next
when they should
year,
look for it.
by next year, December,
Okay.
um, at least the first book will be out on hardcover first. I'll probably release it with paperback as well. I just want a special edition hardcover where I'll add some extra chapters maybe to it
Okay.
to make it different. And I will get an insert done, like a nice illustrated insert just for people to see, kind of like a page break insert kind of thing.
Okay. Is
Um,
that going to
um,
be available on retailers, or is that
of
something that'll be
course,
direct from
it'll
you?
it will be on Amazon, of course. And if you want to
Okay.
sign copy it, then we will revisit this in a podcast in the future where we can
Okay.
talk about it more and I can show you the goodies because I will most likely send it to you first and then you can show
Oh.
it live on camera.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah,
wasn't
with all the
expecting
goodies.
that.
Well, of course, and I'm gonna get bookmarks made of the characters. I'll probably get some character cards printed out just for special, like just for you, like and for myself, not for like major retail. But the
Right.
insert, certain people will be able to get the insert for the special edition hardcover that would be coming from me because I can't print that out for everybody. you know.
Yeah, get print doing I was looking into this because I'm doing a Kickstarter starting that launches next week. Just color printing is very expensive.
Oh my God!
And
Right?
trying to get the to do like I was looking into like the logistics of how to do like a spread where
Yeah.
the image goes across 2 pages. And
Yeah.
like I just got to a point where I was like, I can't this time.
Yeah.
This is bookmark for future Melinda to come back to and try again
Exactly.
in the future because they're just maybe I'm just didn't find the right tools or the right printers, but like I don't like the quality of the Amazon hardcovers either. So
I don't like I saw their hardcovers. I'm like, no.
Book Vault,
Uh,
there's beautiful ones. I just got
yeah.
a couple. The colors
Book
are
vault.
popping.
Ooh.
They're vibrant. You can choose the printer paper. I don't mean to turn this into a Book Vault commercial,
No,
but
this is exciting. I don't
I'm
know
going to be
about this.
using. I've been researching printers for my Kickstarter because like I hate the Amazon hardcovers. The colors were muddy. The paper was not that nice, and
Mm.
so Ingram I've always had difficulties with, so we just didn't bother with that. I was like, we're just gonna leave that off to the side. I can't seem to get to first base with their computer system without tearing all of my hair out. And so I found out Book Vault. They're in the UK. They also have a plant in the US. The US plant
Okay.
doesn't do hardcovers, but the
Okay.
UK one does. And so I got them. It took a couple of weeks to get them, but they are really beautiful. They're an omnibus. So one of
Ooh.
them is 900 pages. And like I opened it up, it lays flat. I was like,
Uh,
That's
Oh
just
goodness.
beautiful when, you open the hardcover. Like, obviously not the first couple of pages, but like as you start to get through the book towards the middle, it lays flat. And I was like, I love that.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see that. I'm gonna start using
Yeah.
it. I'll get more information about that from you, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have pictures. They're right over
Okay,
there. They're right behind. They're in my living room.
you'll show
They
me
have a
that
place of honor
after.
on the couch at the
Okay,
moment.
of course.
you know, have to. They're sitting nice and regally on the couch because I'm like, they're so pretty. Um,
Perfect.
Yeah, so if you're gonna do special edition, I would recommend using Book
Book
Vault
vault.
to print
Got
them.
it.
They do have some. You can do direct sales with them. They do
Oh,
integrate into some things, Shopify, WooCommerce. I'm not sure what else. Um, but if you're gonna do something that beautiful, where you're gonna have like illustrations and color inserts and things, like I would recommend having them print it because
okay.
then it's gonna be beautiful and the quality will be nice. And their customer service is fantastic. So if you have any issues, like it's not like with Ingram where you go into the black hole and you
Ugh.
a week later you might hear something from customer service.
I haven't done hardcover yet, so this is good info.
Yeah, I just want to put that out there because it sounds like these are going to be really beautiful and like I want you to get like the best printing, of them, because there's nothing more disappointing than you have these beautiful files and this beautiful formatted thing and you get back the proof and you're like, this does not look the way I hoped it would. There's nothing more
I'm really
disappointing than that.
excited. I'm just excited to do it. I think for the
Yeah.
for the cover of the book for the new version to give
Yeah.
people an idea what to expect.
Sure.
Obviously want to have Esther Anna on the cover. Want to have Esther Anna holding the lamp of light so people know what it looks
Oh.
like. That would be helpful. And then maybe Prince Philip in his fairy foam near her shoulder, flying. And I kind of just want those two, but I kind of want to look like she's fleeing from somebody. And you,
Oh.
in the background, you can kind of see the kingdom and maybe like a dark figure that looks like it's coming to attack her, which would be the enemy. So I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, is the lamp of light like I was imagining it like Aladdin's lamp?
No, it's not like that. It's like a handheld light that reflects a light on the person who's a liar.
Oh.
It tells you the truth. You ask a question, it will shoot the light beam at the person who is a liar and not telling the
Oh.
truth.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's why they need it because no one believes that Esther didn't murder her husband.
That's cool that it shines the light on the liar.
Yeah, so
Exposes the lie. That's really a neat twist.
and because it's such an ancient artifact, people have to believe it because it tells the truth.
No,
So
and the truth is important and in those days they didn't have lie detectors. This is the lie detector test.
exactly. So I think that would be really cool. For the insert, however, I thought what would be really cool instead of having all this, the nice people for the picture for the insert, I think I want to have all the enemies. I want to have Noelle. I want to have a few of her evil dwarves. I want to have Damian. And I want to have somebody else that you don't know about yet, which you'll have to read in the first book. So I want that. I want to have an image of the enemies instead as the insert picture.
That's cool.
Because people always put the main characters, which is fine. But I thought, why not? Why not put the enemies for change?
No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I did that on one of mine. I put the enemy. I put the
Yeah,
hero
that's
and the
cool.
enemy. The enemy was this crazy looking monster. So I was like, we just gotta put this on the cover. There's
Yeah,
some way,
right?
it's such a weird looking monster. Like it just kind of needs to be on the cover because it's
Exactly. So I
weird.
just like to change. I like to keep things very different. When I write, I don't tend to follow what other people are doing. So, an example,
Sure.
I wrote this is a standalone, by the way. It's a fantasy book. So there was a time where I think it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. All I said was werewolf books, shifter books, shifter books, shifter bears, shifter this, shifter pigs, shifter God knows everything, shifter. But it was like werewolves, bare man-chested werewolves with one
Yes.
girl and like three, four guys. I'm like, I'm so tired of these books. And no one writes traditional werewolf books anymore. I'm like, I'm gonna write a werewolf book, but I want to do it different. I want to do something totally different that no one's gonna expect, and I did. And honestly, people love it.
What?
They
So
love
what
it
was your
so.
twist? You got to tell us
It,
now.
I
You can't build
will.
it up and then not tell us what the twist
I will.
was.
So it's called
What
it's
was?
called Wolf. It's called Wolf Song.
Yeah.
That's the name of the wolf too, and it's about a girl named Melody who is Wolf Song. However, she's never thought of the wolf and her as the same person. She's always thought of the wolf as sharing her body.
Oh, that's
She's
neat.
has she has almost like a friendship with the wolf. So she had cancer when she was a child. Her parents tried everything to cure her, and then they were told that there's a shaman in a small town that could help, but didn't really go into details. And now their daughter is a wolf, and the thing is, she's a like a violinist now. She's like older.
Mm-hmm.
She's like a teenager adult, and she's dying of cancer again. But instead of worried about herself, she's more worried about the wolf because it's the last one of its kind. It's a white wolf. And she doesn't want the
Oh.
white wolf to die because she thinks of the white wolf as her friend. So she's trying to find a way to split herself into herself and the wolf to be separate. It's her journey trying to find a way to split herself so the wolf doesn't die.
Oh, that's such a cool twist.
So I thought, you know what? To me, that's beautiful. I wrote that during a tough time. My cat of 27 years passed away.
27?
Yeah, I had her for 27
Wow.
years during my
How did you
teenage
manage
years.
that?
Lots of love, lots of love and support. And I was so sad without her. And
That
then
cat
I just,
must have had good genes.
yeah. And then so I decided to write this book in her memory because I wasn't writing at the time, but then I wanted to. So I worked on this
Yeah.
book. And honestly,
That's
it was
wow.
very emotional. It's a good book. I love it. I think I'm going to release it on hardcover too. I even got a new cover for it for a special edition, which is so beautiful. Even the paperback cover is beautiful. I'm not changing the paperback cover currently, but I have a special edition hardcover book, like hardcover for it.
When is that
And
gonna come out?
that is going to come out probably this year. We'll see. I wanted to get an insert done, like a nice insert. But what I really want to get done, which I'm researching, is I want to get somebody to actually orchestrate a song for me, like an orchestra,
Oh,
a wolf song for wolf song with the link where you
that's
can,
so
yeah,
neat. You should run a
where,
Kickstarter to fund that. That
yeah,
would be such a unique book project.
yeah. So I want to get somebody talented to create a beautiful, like a crescendo of like maybe a chase scene for like calmness, and then like a chase scene, and then calm again. But it's a beautiful wolf song for wolf song. So I want to get that done. Where in the back of the hardcover, you find the link that you can go to where you can download the song for free as long as you have the hardcover to for your Spotify.
That's really neat.
Yeah,
You gotta
I'm
tell me
gonna.
when you do this because
Yeah,
I wanna be part of that. That's just such a cool thing.
I even found a few people who do amazing work on Fiverr. Like you can create like the musicians, and I know personal musicians too. So I'm excited to. I might have a couple of songs done. I want to do like a calm before the storm kind of song. Then I want to actually have one called Wolf Song, which is like foresty, kind of like orchestratey. Bless you.
Thank you. I
Okay.
was like, it was a race to the mute button. I was like, I don't want to cut him off.
No, that's okay. So
It's the
yeah,
allergies. Go
you're
on.
you're you're gonna really like it. I will send you the first, like the book as it is. For the hardcover, however, I'm gonna add, think about 2 to 3 more chapters, maybe, just to flush out some of the enemies. And maybe I want to get the like a picture thing done for the insert, and then I have to find a hardcover person. But you told me already, so we'll
Yeah,
get talk
I
more about that.
recommend Book Vault. They're
Yeah,
it's a little the shipping is a little expensive because they're in the
that's
UK,
okay.
but the
That's all
printing
right.
cost is only a little bit more than if you were to get author copies from Amazon, which is not
Oh,
bad.
which
You're not paying the 60% markup to Amazon either. you
yeah,
know?
that too. And being a Canadian, I get ISB numbers for free, so it's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. So Wolf Song, I will send you the book, like the original book. The paperback is gorgeous. The cover. The person who did Lamp of Lights cover did my Wolf Song cover,
Oh.
and everyone's obsessed with my Wolf Song cover. However,
I have to see
the
that now. I'm
oh,
curious.
it's on Amazon. You can take a look at it.
I'm gonna
Type
have
in
to
Wolf
do
Song.
that.
But when you see the special edition cover, you're going to be in awe. It is so beautiful. I have no words for it. It has to be the cover. It's so simple but beautiful and describes a relationship so well. So I'm pretty excited.
Wow. So I'm gonna have to check that out after this because I'm curious. I want to see this pretty cover.
Yeah, it's really pretty. And honestly, I was surprised I came up with such an interesting story. I was trying to think and thinking, I'm like, you know what? Werewolves are so, the only thing that can kill them really is silver bullets, which is so generic.
Yeah.
I go, but regular human stuff never kills them. I go, what if cancer kills one? What if the, and then the idea came to me and I started working on it. So I really like the idea. I think it's very unique. The
No, it
relationship
is.
the
It
relationship
is.
between her.
It reminds me a little bit of like I don't know if you've read the Jane Yellow Rock series.
No.
She's like she's got like she absorbed the spirit of like a I think it was a puma, and but it's a separate consciousness that lives within her,
Oh,
and and so she's also a she's Cherokee shapeshifter as well,
oh,
so she can shift into the
cool.
form. But there's this sort of like tug of war because it's the cat is there too, and it wants to obviously have control, be in the cat body, do its thing. So it's she also slays vampires and there's all sorts of I love it, but it's
Wow.
there that dichotomy. It's not the same, and at one point she is like you know, when she realizes what happened when she was a child, that she absorbed the spirit of this creature, not
Hmm.
just their form. And she's like, oh, and then, there's a point where she's like, could we split? And then they decide not to, that they prefer to stay as they are. They've been that way for so long that they
Oh,
don't really want to be
cool.
separate. But it's such an interesting like journey on top of all her other stuff that she's got going on. Um, and this kind of what you're talking about, it kind of reminded me of that.
I'm gonna have to read that. That sounds so cool.
There's a lot of them. I love that.
Okay. Okay, thank
Some
you
of
for
them,
letting me know.
yeah, some of them get kind of violent because she's into vampire slaying business. Some of them
Yeah.
are a little spicy because there's some romance. Um,
Ooh.
but I'm there for the vampire slaying action. I'm not gonna
Um,
lie.
I, I think you're gonna like my other two fantasies books I'm working on. So I have other series that I have that haven't come out yet.
Oh, do tell.
One is called Galaxy Graves.
Oh,
It's a series. That's my main character's name too. Her name is Galaxy Graves. And the other one I'm working on, which I'm really excited for. I've been trying. I thought of this idea when I was 10, and I
oh,
finally decided I'm going to work on it. Um, it's called Sharp Destinies, and it's about the creation of all magical beings.
oh. So and was the Galaxy Graves one about? Are they part of the same
Galaxy Graves?
series?
No, no, no. Galaxy Graves is different. Galaxy Graves is about a snake dragon hybrid.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's wild.
and how she has the ability to see supernatural creatures. So she gets into the business of supernatural ghost hunting bounty hunter.
In our
While,
world or in like a
yeah, in
magical
our
world?
world, no, in our world, while she's trying to
Oh,
figure out
wow.
more information about who she is in her past, and she has other allies with her. There's a ghost that follows her around. Him, she meets a werewolf in Louisiana who is a transsexual. I decided to
That's
change it up. So,
that's
which is why
fun.
they couldn't find the alpha werewolf killing people, but they found a female who's an alpha because it, it was a guy became a girl.
That's that's so neat.
Yeah, but that's not the one that was killing one. It was somebody else. But
Well, no,
like
I'm glad
fast,
they're not the
yeah, yeah,
one who was doing the
yeah, yeah.
killing, but that's such
So
an interesting
yeah,
twist. Like, um,
yeah,
that's so cool. And then
and
going
then
back to, was it Sharpened Destiny where they
Sharp
can see
Destinies
Sharp
is about
Destiny?
it's about the unicorn princess. Believe it or not.
Oh, our world
So
or a magical
well,
world?
it takes place in the first thing that takes place back then in their world, and then it takes place in our current world, kind of futuristic world in a way, where magic is banned everywhere. Any magical being, anybody with abilities, the new government wants them to be taken in. So it's going to be interesting because this girl is looking for gets enthralled in this journey to find the horn of destiny, which is the shards of the unicorn horn, which is what created the magic in the
Oh,
first
wow.
place.
And when are these coming out, these
When
two?
I decide to work on it, but I'll show you the covers, of
Oh, okay.
course.
How far along are these? Like, are these a 2024 release possibly, or
Yeah,
like we're talking
probably
2025?
2026, maybe 2025. We'll see how fast I work on them.
I see. So are these the books you're going back and forth with the thriller
Yeah,
killer?
yeah. I have so many books I have to do. Like, I almost finished my first ever LGBTQ coming of romance book called Bill of the Ball.
Yes, I remember seeing you post about that on Facebook.
Yeah, so it's done. I'm just tweaking it and rereading it, and I'm liking it, but I'm not liking it. You know, when you kind
Okay.
of like second guess
Yeah.
yourself. So
So
I just have
that's
to go through
2024.
it. Yeah, that's gonna hopefully come out in 2024. I just have to like it enough. I need to read it and say, "Wow, did I write that?" And I haven't done that yet.
So
It's more like, "Wow, I finished it, but I don't like it yet."
oh,
I don't love my characters. Like I love who they're supposed to be, but I don't love them in the book.
I see. I see.
And if I don't love them in the book, you guys are not gonna love them in the book.
So does
So
that mean you go back and like tear it apart, rewrite it?
I go back to find out what happened, what I did wrong. And then if I'm going crazy, I get other people to read it to tell me, do you like this person? Do you like where this book is going? And then they give me feedback, and then based on that, I go back and tweak it.
Okay. So you have like
Yeah,
beta readers. I don't have
yeah.
any of these. I need to get those sorts of humans because it's just me figuring out, okay, do I like this? Well, yeah, it's
But you
good.
have to be careful because beta readers like to leak out info. So make sure you sign a contract.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
You know.
I don't have any of them. I mean, the only one I have right now is a relative. So
Okay.
she doesn't use social. She's old. She's older.
Okay.
She's an older relative. She likes to read. She reads
That's
like
good.
hundreds of books per year. And
Wow.
so I just send her to be like, hey, you human who likes me, who reads many, 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 many books, a lot of them traditionally published, like, how do I sound? Like, am I in line with what else you're reading? Like, just a gut check. Like, am I going off the rails here? Or like, you know what I mean? I'm always wanting to make sure that, like, because there's the stigma against indie authors that some people think we're not as good as the traditionally published authors because, the gatekeepers didn't publish us. So she is my, like, you're reading all these other traditional things. Like, do I sound like them? Do I look like them? Like, does my book fit with some of that? Or like, is there some, because if something doesn't, like, because she reads so many traditionally published books, she'll know.
You know, readers have to remember that a lot of TV series and stuff came from indie authors.
True.
The
Proof.
popularity of those books is what caught the eye of the big guys. They're like, hey, this person's an indie author. Let's sign them up because their book is too popular to be indie.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
Twilight was like that. Twilight was an idea from 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know how, but it
Yeah, I'm
was.
still. No, it was the other way around. 50 Shades of
Oh,
Grey was the fan
from
fiction of
Twilight?
Twilight, just
Oh my
the
god.
very BDSM version without vampires.
Oh my goodness.
I've not read 50 Shades of Grey. It's not my kind of thing. I didn't read Twilight either. It wasn't my kind of thing. But from what I know about both of them, like, I don't know how you get one from the other.
That's like
But
getting apple juice from a tomato.
but I think people who have read it see the parallels, like similar, like character personalities, but like definitely a completely different story.
Yeah, probably. I don't know how, but who knows?
I mean, it probably started that she intended to write a Twilight fan fiction and drifted away from that, and then she was eventually like, "This is my guess," because I've not read either one.
Who knows? Who
This was
knows?
started out as fan fiction, but we've drifted so far that let's just change the part that started as the fan fiction because it's really gone far away from the original.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm excited for you guys to see the new cover for Lamp of Light once I figure out who's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Um,
So you've got a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of
I
books to be
do.
written.
That's where my money goes, honestly. It goes to formatting, cover design, editing, and now inserting, and then
Yeah.
interior formatting, and then paying for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
hardcover. So lots of
So
stuff.
what's the next book that's coming out? Is it going to be Bill of the
Actually
Ball?
coming out? Okay.
Yes. That like
Yeah,
what's your like what's your release schedule plan as of right
okay.
now?
So the book that's coming out probably in December, or probably the end of December, to be honest, is Nubara Book One. It's part of the series. Nubara is the series.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't even remember what I renamed the first book. I've renamed it a couple of times.
Okay.
But
And is that fantasy or something else?
it is a fantasy. You guys will love it. It's about Atlantis and the end of the world.
Oh,
Yeah, and Planet X, which is called Nibiris, which is where I came up with Nubara.
that's fun. So that's coming out in December.
Yes.
Do you have any books planned for release in 2024?
Of course I do, guys. I'm gonna release Nubara Book 2 and 3. They're all done, guys.
Oh, they're all
Done.
done.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I got the cover for book 1 done by an amazing talented cover artist, Christian, as you know, Christian
Mhm.
Bentalon. Amazing. He will do book two's cover, which he has not done yet, but he will. And then book three's cover, he will do it too, and I will release it. And it will be done. And it's just a trilogy. There's no more after it, thank God. So,
Okay.
that will come out. Bill of the Ball, if it goes the way I planned, it should be out next year. The Killer Thriller, I think I'm going to enjoy writing it. It's only one book, anyways. I want to release it for October next year, just in time for Halloween. You
Cool.
know? Oh, and The Second Husband will be coming out as well. It's already done. It's like a thriller. It's kind of like my version of a sci-fi book with
Okay.
thriller sci-fi, maybe. Yeah, thriller sci-fi, and that will come out next year. I already have the
Okay.
cover already. Yeah,
Oh wow. So you got like that was at 4 books coming out
I have a
next
lot
year.
of books that are finished. I just haven't released them, so I will release them. I'm just this year, to be honest, I decided to take some time for me. The summer was so nice. I'm like, let me enjoy summer because come wintertime, I'm not gonna want to leave my home. So I'm like,
Yeah.
then I'll
You're
be
in
bored. So
Canada. It's
I'll
cold
just
up there.
I know right now it's been so hot and so nice. I'm like, I'm trying to get out every day, even though I'm more of a homebody. I've been trying to get out of my comfort zone. So I'm like, I'm gonna go out, enjoy some time out with people, make memories. But come wintertime, come fall, like, I'm staying home. I'm not going anywhere. I will be writing. Like that's it. And I work from home, so it kind of works out for me. So I will
That's
be
the
working more
dream.
and writing.
That's what I
Yeah,
want. I want to work from home, but right now I don't. I can only work
it's
from home
so
2 days a
nice.
week. I'm not allowed to do
It's
it the other days.
it's so nice to work from home, honestly. So yeah, but the best part of this job is I can work anywhere in the world. So
Let's all cross our fingers that I can get something like that because I could get more books written.
yeah, so like I'm
If I
like as
didn't
long as
have
I'm
the
home,
long commute and the front and the back of going to the office. It's so exhausting too.
yeah, I know. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna write more come winter time because where am I gonna go, honestly? So I'm just still
Yes, I'm in New
working on the
York.
preliminary.
I
Yeah,
feel you there. The cold, the
yeah.
wind, the damp, it's the
The
snow.
ice.
They're predicting like that this is going to be a snowy winter according to the Farmer's Almanac. My mom was telling me that, and I was like, "Don't tell me that. I don't want to
Oh
know."
well, that means more time for me to write at home inside.
Yeah, I was like, "Don't tell me that." I live far from the I-95 corridor, and you know, not just
Yeah.
cars take the highway; storms do too.
They do. They do. I've done the news. I'm like, oh my God, it's so bad out there. But here in Toronto, it gets really bad. It gets very cold and icy, but not a lot. Last year was pretty a tame winter. We only had like maybe 2 days of extreme cold, and that's it.
Uh, I'm trying to remember. I don't think we had. Yeah, we had a couple of evenings where it was really cold, like close to like below freezing, like way below freezing, to where you hope your heat doesn't fail because you're going to freeze. um
Exactly.
yeah, it wasn't as bad as winters can be in New York. We did have snow, but we didn't it wasn't northern New York, and western New York was actually like got a lot of the snow. So that's the lake effects from the Great Lakes over there. That's what they do. They make snow. That's all they do all winter long, is produce snow. Intensify storms, create snow. And but we didn't get everybody south of Albany, we didn't have much snow last year. And I'm hoping this year we don't either. Um there was one or two storms where we did get quite a bit of snow. I had to take off work to drive my father to dialysis because his car is
Oh,
not good on snow and mine is. So, but still, like, he lives on a mountain. Like, even though you have all-wheel drive, like, it's still not a
it's
fun
so
driving
bad. I know.
experience. But
I
yeah,
don't
and I
drive,
and I
so
helped
thankfully
them
for
shovel
me,
out. But
yeah.
at least
Well,
it got
hopefully.
warmer after that and it started to melt. So that was
Oh
good.
yeah.
It's the
Oh
worst is
God.
when it's like below freezing and it stays that way for months and the snow just piles and gets
Oh God.
compacted
And
and
then
icy and
melts
freezes
and
harder,
freezes.
and you have
Yeah.
nowhere to put snow after a while. You're like, I need to move the snow to move my car and I can't move this. There's nowhere to put it.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
next year I have two surprise books I'm working on. I don't.
Oh,
They're not going to be done. I will work on them. One is a controversial book in my way.
what's that mean?
'Cause- Controversial because it's about Indians. Because I'm
Oh,
Indian.
okay.
So I'm like, it's going to be interesting how people perceive it. The other one is my first version of a book that I never thought I would write. It's more about community, it's more about acknowledging issues for youngsters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
I don't know how to, that's going to be, I think that's going to be hard for me to write, but I want to write it, you know?
It sounds like that's an important book though, like, 'cause
It is.
there's young people need ways to learn about, there's so many issues and there's that they
Exactly.
face, and especially with like books being banned and stuff, like I think we need more books about how to handle difficult things.
Which is why I want to work on it. And I never, the idea came to me out of nowhere. I've
Mm,
told people, some people, the name of the cover, like the book, and they're like, wow, that's actually a really catchy title. I can share it with you if you want.
sure.
I want to call it Struggle Bubble.
Ah, I like that.
It's about a young girl, and she is, a Caribbean origin, Jamaican Caribbean. I haven't decided yet. Her parents, however, are not Jamaican or Caribbean. They're white. They've adopted her.
Ah,
And her father works in a marketing firm. Her mother is an architect, and they moved to New York, Bronx of all
to the
places,
Bronx.
because her
I went to
job is not
college in
that
the
far.
Bronx.
That's awesome. So they enroll her in this like school that's predominantly black, but she doesn't associate herself with that culture because she was raised with white parents.
Yeah.
So that right there is a struggle, not being able to
I knew people in college who had that sort of struggle, who like,
exactly.
because like in especially like in New York City, like you want to send your kids. I didn't grow up in New York City. I only went to college in New York City,
Mm.
and more grad school than college because I didn't like the college, so I transferred to a school outside of New York City, back in the suburbs where I grew up. But in in because the suburbs are very white, and the city is not. So like there'd be people would come from the city because their parents would move out of it to get, like, they want a house. It's less expensive to live outside of the city. It's a longer commute, but there's also like you don't you, there's better not that the schools are bad in the city, but there's more kids in this that attend the schools, so the public schools tend they have a reputation for not being as good, but the schools outside of the city in the towns and villages above it have the reputation of being better because there's less private schools outside the city. Everybody goes to public school.
Yeah,
So, and
so
yeah, so
sorry.
and for them it's sort of they experienced that, like where they were going to a school where everybody looked like them, or a majority of people look like them, to a place where people don't look like them, or vice versa. They move
Exactly.
from the suburbs to the city, and like there's sort of different culture shocks.
Exactly, which is why I wanted to write this book. First of
It's
all,
important.
she's a smart girl. She's very kind and intelligent, and she's going to the school that's predominantly black. And they don't. The people there treat her bad because they're like, "You're not black enough to be here, and you have white parents," you know. But they never subjugated her to be white. They told her to learn more about her culture and stuff, right? She can do whatever she wants. She's an independent woman.
Yeah.
But
But you
at
need
the
to know
school,
people in that
yeah,
culture. Like, as
exactly.
if you don't know people, and if you're growing up predominantly people who don't look like you and don't share that culture of your origin, it's hard to it's hard.
Which is why I want to write this book. And
Yeah. No, it's
it's
important. You got
it's
to get
gonna
on that.
it's gonna be so good. It's gonna touch on so many awesome topics and subjects, and you're gonna fall in love with her. You're gonna fall in love with her family, and fall in love with the other characters that I'm gonna write about. And yeah, I'm excited to work on it. Honestly, because it's such a different topic that I'm used to. When I
But it's
start it,
important.
I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to focus on it. Like I can't do multiple books when I'm working that one or the other one I told you about, because
Yeah.
those are
You
topics I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah. No, and you might want to talk to people who've experienced that,
Oh
because
yeah,
that could be really positive, like to include at the end of the fictional story, some autobiographical like details like that that you
yeah.
know, I think that could be kind of fascinating for someone reading this book who is experiencing those struggles.
That one's gonna cost me a lot of money because I'm actually creating a social media site for Struggle Bubble.
Oh,
It's a place
I love the
for any.
title.
Yeah, it's gonna be a place for anyone who has, struggles that they don't want to talk about verbally. They can anonymously create an account and mention their struggle in their struggle bubble. And then other people that have the same bubbles can join the same group as that person and talk about their problems together.
Oh, that's so neat. You got to do
Yeah,
that. This sounds like the
I
world needs that kind of book.
yeah, that's gonna be when I start working on it, I have to
And the
focus
social
on it
media,
as yeah,
especially
because
with like the
I
book
have to hire
bannings and stuff,
somebody.
like because that's
Yeah,
primarily affecting people who would need this book, who are struggling with not being of the majority, and with books being banned, they're removing resources that they would have to read about books about people like them, who are people who are experiencing similar issues, similar struggles. So it's you got to get that out there. That's really
I will.
important.
So many books, so little time, but I will get to it
Yeah.
eventually, one at a time.
Yeah,
But
and I just have to
my,
say, because the book banning came up, it hurts my heart to hear about that, because
yeah,
the people who are banning it are like they're trying to like erase these identities, and that's not what makes us different. Is what makes us special. That's what my mom taught me when I was a kid, and I cling to that. I really believe that.
it's true. Honestly, it's true, and it's sad to hear that people are banning books.
Yeah.
Like if I feel like I'm at Fahrenheit 51 where they're burning the books,
Yes.
and I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
and the books
yeah,
that they're banning are the ones that are talking about like the tough issues, and
mhm,
trying to make us confront difficult things, like about the fact that yes, this country had slavery, that we should be equal, but we are not. There are people who are treated differently because they look different, which is not right, but it is a
exactly,
reality. And
exactly,
banning books that address that, or who address people who have different sexual orientations, or who identify as a different gender, you know it's I don't understand why people would like get upset about that. Like, it doesn't affect you.
exactly. I
If I
know
identify as this water bottle, that doesn't how does that affect somebody else?
exactly,
That's a
but
bad example, but go on.
I I hate to say it, my phone is about to die. We've
Oh,
been on.
okay. Is there anything else you want to say about anything
I just
before
want
we
to say
close?
to everybody, if you're thinking of writing a book, do it. Don't let anyone tell you you cannot. It's your thoughts, it's your creativity. If you're having difficulty and you don't know where to start, because I've had people message me, feel free to shoot me a message on Facebook. You can find me on my Instagram. Ask me. I'll help you out and give you some tips. No one helped me when I first started. I had to do
Yeah,
everything on my own
same.
and learn. And I have so many people that are like, oh, I wanted to write a book once, but I don't think I can do that. Or I don't know where to start. I'm like, I didn't know where to start, but I figured it
Same.
out. I go, now that I know, I can help people. And if you have any questions or concerns about writing a book, let me know. I will give you the honest, basic tips. I don't want to know what your books are about unless you want to share it. But if you want tips on where to start, like, or what to do or what the process is, I can help you out. Never let anybody tell you that you cannot be creative, which is what I'm trying to say. Always be
Yes.
creative.
Yeah, no, the world needs your stories. You can also ask
Exactly.
me if you have. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody helped me either when I started. um, but
Yeah.
yeah.
We built ourselves. Like, we did it from our own creativity. I write because I enjoy writing. It's my way of de-stressing from a
Mm,
long day, but it's my way of giving somebody my creativity. If you choose to read it, great. If you choose not to read it, that's fine. It doesn't really bother me. I'm
mm,
writing for my own. It's, you know how powerful it is to get your own book in the mail. Like, I did this.
mm-hmm.
It's self-achievement. So,
Yes.
if you want to write a book badly, write a book. No
Mm-hmm.
one's stopping you.
That's true. That's true. Actually, there is somebody stopping you, but it is yourself, and you can stop
Exactly.
stopping You can stop stopping yourself.
Yes, you can
You can
stop
start
stopping
now.
yourself. You can start starting yourself from stop stopping yourself.
See, we've been on too long. We're starting to lose the plot.
Oh my god, I need caffeine.
So thank you.
No
This is
problem.
This has been another episode of Fantasy Lore and More. And today we had Alex H Singh. We talked about Lamp of Light and many, many, many other things.
Many, many, many other things. That's
I don't think
right.
we can list all the books. I think your phone will die. So we'll be back with another fantasy author, another fantasy book soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day or great night wherever you are.